All right, Cookie. We got Cookie King here. You guys already know the story with Cookie King. I'm trying to help him lock in. And now we have Dr. Justin and we have Evan here. And these are two experts in health, okay? We got them out all the way out here, Cookie, to help you lock in. So you need to just talk to them about what's been going on, and we can try to figure out some basic strategies to help you, because you need help, bro. We've been trying for months now, for the history for you guys just to know. I met Cookie a while ago. He's like, I want to improve my health. I'm trying to get in shape. I lost weight at one point, then I gained it back. I've been having energy issues. Like, your sleep is the most insane sleep cycle I've ever seen. So I tried to help Cookie, and I just realized I kind of can't do it with that sleep cycle. Like, it's just really difficult to do. All that said, we're not here to hate on him. You've showed up to the gym a lot. You have gone through periods of time where you've eaten really well. So what's going on? Talk to me. We're back here, Cookie. We're back here. It's almost July. Have you locked in?
Kinda, not really though. At the same time, past few days have been good.
Hell yeah.
I was tracking calories, but now I'm not when I came on this trip, but I'm only eating whole food, so.
There we go. So Dr. J, you've talked to Cookie a little bit. What can you start to do? Just some basic stuff with the circadian rhythm. His sleep schedule for last night, you said you went to bed at 3 a.m., woke up at like 11, or like, what can he do? I know it's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. So with Cookie here, I know we've chatted a little bit. The easiest thing out of the gate is I like to just get your proteins and your fats dialed in at the meal, because that's what's going to, one, stabilize blood sugar, right? Most mood issues are going to be driven from inflammation, because inflammation in the gut and the body creates inflammation in the brain. You're going to have mood issues, anxiety, brain fog, focus issues. So if we can get the protein and the fat dialed in, that stabilizes the blood sugar. That's also building blocks for your brain chemistry, right? Your brain's protein, fat, cholesterol, right? So we get the blood sugar stable. So, starting off, it's like, how much protein per meal? It's like you can pull out your calories and do a MyFitnessPal for the day. That's good just to get a good estimate to see where you're at. Are you eating enough? Throw in a chronometer, make sure your micronutrients are good too. But like maybe a fist to a hand of protein at each meal, probably 3 times a day. And then maybe that's going to be full fat. Maybe you already have fat. Maybe it's some ribeye. Maybe it's an 85-15 ground beef. Maybe it's a dark piece of chicken with skin on, right? So good protein sources. Maybe we're adding some fat to it. And then for you, trying to get the carbohydrate a little bit lower, get a little more in check. So maybe if we look at our plate, here's our entire plate, maybe 3/4 of it to half of it's full vegetables, right? And maybe a little bit of starch, maybe a little bit of fruit. But it's going to be driven on your activity. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure your protein and fat are check, and then we get your carbohydrate and dial that ratio in based on how active you are, how you feel. If you're tired after a meal, we're adjusting the carbohydrates down, right? If you're more active, we may increase it and just kind of see how you feel and listen to your body. You may feel better lower carb at the start of the day and higher carb maybe at lunch, or maybe kind of do a little more carb backloading at the end. So it's always about kind of moving the lever up and down and listening to your body.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say we could start with like some adaptogenic herbs. I mean, we could use rhodiola, we could use holy basil, we could get in maybe some cordyceps mushroom to try to just increase your energy. Because like if you're just depending on your own motivation, your own just mental ability to stick to this, it's going to be hard. I tell people like sometimes they don't even have the willpower in the tank. So we could pump up the herbs a little bit to get him motivated, get him stimulated enough to where he could adapt to the loss of sleep, changing up the diet. It's a stress. Like to help yourself is stressful. Even though you're trying to improve your health, that in itself is a stress. So these adaptogens would probably help him to cope with that.
And what do you guys think happens with binge eating? So if Cookie goes and he does some binge eating, he gets some McDonald's apple pie, and like you guys explain to him what would happen to your body if you went and ate a bunch of McDonald's apple pies. Like what is happening to a person when they eat that?
So environment is stronger than willpower. Even more importantly, hormones and neurotransmitters are more powerful than willpower. So you have to say when you're craving something, you're using a destructive vehicle to artificially bump up your serotonin and dopamine to feel better acutely. But in the long term, you will come down from that and feel like shit. You will be inflamed. You'll be bloated, may have some digestive issues. So it's always about choosing constructive vehicles, not destructive vehicles, right? You can whip a tired horse. It'll run faster for a day, but in the end, it's not going to heal. It's not going to have good stamina over time. And so when I see, like, let's say you're binging, right? You have a craving, right? Why did that happen, right? Typically, number one, it's going to be too much carbohydrates and processed crap before then, creating reactive hypoglycemic spikes or drops. And when those drops happen, you get really craving food, right? Or you're going too long between meals, and too much fasting sometimes can be a big thing, because if you're fasting and you're very nutrient deficient because you're not getting nutrition in, that can sometimes cause cravings. So I always tell my patients, anytime you're having any cravings at all, you get your proteins and fats in first, and then you let your brain kind of adapt. And then if you're going to choose carbohydrates, some sweet potato, right? With some grass-fed butter, maybe some cinnamon on there, maybe a handful of berries and coconut yogurt, right? Maybe some of your awesome low sugar cookies, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if we're going to do it, it's easier to say, well, sure, we'll do it, but we're going to do this instead. And you get the logs on the fire first. That gets the fire going. And then if you just throw kindling without any logs, the fire's up, out, up, out. That's your mood, up, out. But if we get the kindling on there, now we got a good metabolic fire going.
Yeah, I mean, it's all like taking tomorrow's pleasure away by overindulging today. So that's my best advice would be, if you're feeling like you're being drawn towards that, is that an emotional thing? Like, did you get a bad text? Did you get a bad message? Did you get some kind of a business thing that fell through or something? Like, is that an emotional thing that's driving you to that sugar? If so, honestly, I'd go for a walk and reevaluate. Like, sometimes just like me clearing my head, if I feel like I'm drawn to something, I'm triggered over something, I'll just go outside, listen to the birds for a few minutes, and that's enough to like reset me. And I'm like, okay, I don't need that anymore.
Yeah. Now, also it gets a little tricky too, because I'm saying like, oh, have good protein, have good fats. But what if you get really bloated, really gassy, really burpy, acid reflux? That's where, yeah, protein and fat can sometimes reveal weak digestive links or links in the digestive chain. So that's where people start to go vegan and vegetarian, because they're like, oh, I just can't handle it. I don't feel good. I feel nauseous. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean it's not good? Or does that mean your stomach and your digestive system is not making the enzymes and the acid and the bile to handle it? And so that's where getting the enzymes and the bile and the acids is really important too, because that allows your macros to work better for you. And then from there, like, let's say there's a lot of glutamate in your brain, right? We can add in different amino acids or compounds that will help you calm down and be more relaxed. Because if you're more in control of your emotions, you can make better decisions. If not, you're just like limbic brainstem kind of like knee-jerk reaction responses versus like frontal cortex. You're able to plan things out and be more strategic.
Yeah, man. Yeah, what questions did you have for them?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really complicated because every week I'm changing. Like, past 4 days, I've been really good. Like, I mean, I've been going every day to a park I live near, getting sunlight like for 2 hours a day. I say I feel fine, but like I still get these like random just episodes of depression, or like it was really bad a while ago, almost like near suicidal depression out of nowhere, and then I just be like really fine and happy or whatever.
And where'd you grow up?
Like, what do you mean?
Where were you when you were a kid? Where'd you grow up?
Here
In California?
Bay Area. Yeah.
I mean, because like when I hear stuff like that, where the mood is to an extreme level, I start thinking like Bartonella, which is a bacteria that comes from mosquito bites, fleas, lice. Do you ever have any anxiety just out of nowhere? Like, just out of the blue, doesn't make sense?
Yeah, well, also, I wanted to note that I am diagnosed with OCD, depression, and bipolar, and ADHD as well.
So we'll see when we get the neurotransmitters back. It's going to be really interesting. But anytime I hear stuff like that, where it's like the mood is so heavy, you feel out of control, I start thinking infection creating brain inflammation. Like, I've had Lyme, I've had Bartonella, I've had Babesia, I've had tick bites. I'm a hunter. I've been out in the woods. I've been exposed to these things. Even in someone who's never had a tick bite, you could potentially even have an infection from your mom in utero. Like, you could have been walking around. You know, for the people that say they're 9 years old and they're depressed, we'll test those kids. And sometimes even at that age, they have these infections driving the depression. So it may not even be you, or something you're doing wrong, or you're not doing the diet the right way, or you're too lazy and you're not exercising enough. It literally may be nothing that you're doing wrong. It could be something internal, this deep trigger, this infection. And that's the problem, is a lot of people think what he's describing is mental health issues, right? But when we look at these things from a functional medicine perspective, we're going to go, oh, wait a second. Sure, there may be some mental piece. Maybe he's on his phone too much. He stayed up till 3 a.m. or something last night. Like, okay, that's obviously like a lifestyle thing we need to adjust. However, what about when he dials all that in? If there's still that depression there that's deep inside him, you know, there could even be a place for like a little bit of ketamine. You know, psychedelics are starting to come more widely available, especially in California. You're seeing certain places decriminalize those. There's a lot of amazing potential. I've personally done ketamine as well. It's been incredible for erasing trauma and depression and anxiety. And so sometimes we need to use a little bit of tool like that in addition to the diet and lifestyle. But hopefully when we get the labs back, we'll see.
Yeah, and just knowing a little bit more about Cookie here, but just to kind of keep it simple, when you see mold or you see mycotoxins or Lyme issues, the problem is it can get really overwhelming because it's like, what's driving my symptoms, right? And having seen 5,000 plus patients in the last 15 years, I always start with the foundation because sometimes with the simple foundations, things start to clear up. And you don't have to go down these rabbit holes. So it's always start with the foundation, get your digestion better, get your hydration, get your electrolytes. Like I know your diet's just absolutely terrible. I know your circadian rhythm is terrible. So if you start there, see what happens. And then we get your digestion better, your absorption better. We work on foundational nutrients for the brain. And then if things start to get better and improve, then we know, okay, then it's probably not that because we're seeing a level of improvement where if it was more like mold or babesia or infection based, maybe we wouldn't see that improvement. So it's good to start foundationally. That way you're not having to invest too much in the labs or other supplements. We can just start foundationally and then let your improvement kind of dictate what direction to go into.
And the good news is he's so young, man. He's got so much time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge.
No, that's the thing, man. People are like, "Oh, he's cooked forever.
No.
He's done." It's like, what are you guys talking about? You're 18. It's like, about to be 19. Like you're good. I think really the thing that I've seen is you haven't consistently for 30, 60 days like done a consistent thing where you eat real food, you get pretty good sleep, and nobody's perfect. Me, this guy who preaches all this health, like I've been moving a bunch of stuff down here lately. Like I have my own issues, but overall, like the overall thing over the last 30 days, I've been super healthy, and I don't think you can say that from the heart. I don't think you can say that from the heart. That last 30 days, I've been really healthy. I don't think you can say that over the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months of you trying to get healthy. Like, can you say that? 30 days, like consistent, like
I was at one point just for like a month.
for a month. And how'd you feel?
I felt better, but I still had like the episodes of depression. Or the thing is like what I think is, I think you might think that my depression is a symptom of my bad sleep schedule or bad eating, but I would say whatever I have influences me to do that stuff. So even if I were to fix it, I'd still have it, and that's what makes me fall off again.
But so this is okay. This gets into some deeper stuff because I don't disagree with that. I think depression's a thing, OCD's a thing, but these are also labels that have been developed to describe symptoms that people are having. I wouldn't wear those too heavy. I feel like it's okay to be like, hey, I struggle with these things, but you shouldn't like embed yourself with that. Like you shouldn't be like, I am somebody who has depression like forever. Like I am somebody who has OCD forever. I'm not saying you're not dealing with those things right now, but if you go get a bunch of lab work done by these guys and figure out some stuff that they can clearly see, just night and day working with thousands and thousands of patients, hey, when we see this, we see increased anxiety. When we see this, we see increased depression. And if you can work on those things, you at least have to mentally be able to put yourself in a spot in the future to be able to get rid of those things. If you truly feel good, you have to let yourself feel good in the future. So like, I wouldn't get too married to those diagnoses.
Plus, when someone puts a label on you, it takes the accountability away from you to change it. Because now it's like, oh, I have this thing. I have this OCD. I have this anxiety. It's not me. It's this thing on me. And it takes away the accountability versus like, no, my body's out of balance. These symptoms are just telling me something is not right. So when I'm in pain, what does pain really mean? Pay attention inside now. You got to go look within. I know your circadian rhythm's junk. You get your circadian rhythm back, everything changes. I mean, just shift work, for instance, right? World Health Organization. It's considered one of the only non-substance carcinogens next to asbestos and smoking. So just getting your circadian rhythm back on track is going to be amazing. Just getting your neurotransmitters dialed in or the inflammation in your brain better, it's going to be amazing too.
Yeah, and I had fixed my sleep schedule during that month too, and like, I don't know why I felt more like depressed almost, only because like I don't like it's hard to explain. It's also like environmental factors, but I kind of like just being alone at night.
The X factor is there's some medications there in the background, right? And so I always tell patients, get their medications written down, look at what the side effects are. Because as you get healthier, the drug that you're on, if your dose it may be too high. Because as you get healthier, your brain's functioning better. You may have more neurotransmitters there. So if there's reuptake inhibitors, well, now you have more serotonin because you're healthier. And now the drugs may be working actually better. And so that's where, as you get healthier, you really need to work with whoever the prescriber is to adjust those doses. But typically starting off, if the medications haven't been there that long, we don't mess with the medications. We get everything better first. Go back to that prescriber and then take the drug that has the least amount of side effects and put on the shortest amount of time. And then we slowly taper each one.
Yeah, and I stopped taking the Adderall like a week and 2 weeks ago or something, and I feel terrible.
That's the biggest. The thing is, you've been whipping a tired horse, and you stop whipping the horse the last week and a half, and you're like, that fucking horse is not getting out of the stall. It's like, yeah, because you're whipping it the whole time, and now you're not. And so that's where, like Evan said, like getting the B vitamins, getting maybe some glandular support, getting some pregnenolone, getting some of the adaptogens on board are going to be key to kind of get those neurotransmitters more upregulated, because you've been relying on basically pharmaceutical meth for your brain.
Yeah, and like it's hard to. One thing I want to also note is like the thing that just concerns me so much and makes me so worried is I've just been going, whether even if I have good moments or not, it's just slowly like a downtrend. I mean, I did really good for like 2 months, I think, like before the April challenge, I lost like 25 pounds. I got really slim. I felt pretty good. But like, I just gained it all back, and I feel even worse now than I did before. And also, like, the thing is I used to be really like dedicated. Like, I had my TikTok account, I would upload every single day. I couldn't miss a day, all this stuff. But then sometime around like 2 years ago is when everything fell apart, and now I barely even like do anything anymore.
So the key is, when I'm working with a patient, is what's your why? Like, okay, you have your health, right? You feel better, you focus better. What the hell are you going to do with it? It's like, I just gave you this amazing car. Does it just sit in your driveway, or are you going to drive it around and race it? Like, what are you going to do with this better, more profound health? Like, what's your purpose?
See, that's the thing. Sometimes I feel like I have none. Like,
That's the key.
See, that's where I try
That's
to.
key.
That's where I try to step in and talk to Cookie, because as a content creator, he is hilarious.
Yeah.
He has millions of people who watch his videos, bro. When we do the meetups, people come up to you. They're stoked. They ask me when I'm biking around you. They go, "Where's Cookie? We want to see him lock in." Like, people care about you, for one. Two, you help people. You may think I just make a funny video, a funny skit, whatever. I react to the show. It's like whatever. You might feel like disconnected from it. That helps people 100%. Like, throughout history, people that have entertained people, provided them comedic relief, made them think through their content, dude, that does help people. Like, you 100% do. Now you launch this protein cookie brand. People are going to eat those instead of eating horrible food. That is cool. You can do a million things with that. So yeah, I think to think you don't have purpose is wild.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing that sucks the most is I will dial everything in, and then I think, for what? Like, I honestly think I'm like, okay, what happens if I get healthy? Like, what happens? Like, I think, what am I working towards? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like nothing's gonna make me happy or feel fulfilled at the end of the day.
Well, this is why I feel so passionate about this, and why people are like, "Oh, give up on cookies." You are right now. You were headed down, and I hope you don't go down this horrible path, which I've seen people go down. You are going to bounce from doctor to doctor. They're going to switch you from different medication to different medication. They're going to up the dose. They're going to lower the dose, and it can end very badly. I've seen it end very badly with people. And when I met you, I'm like, "You're awesome. I care about you. This is why I've put effort into this." And when you listen to people like this, your life can go a whole nother way. And I guess what I'm saying, you don't know how good you can feel. Like, it's hard to describe. People that are healthy, that are watching this and get this, I feel so good. Like, genuine, from the bottom of my heart, I feel good. My brain functions properly for the most part. I get good sleep. I look forward to, I'm about to go surf. I have energy for that. I know what to input into my body to help certain things. And so you feel good on this deep level. That's what you're working towards.
Yeah, and what's it called? The thing that sucks the most is, like, you were even saying yesterday that I read negative comments. I think I'm just filled with a lot of negativity. I focus on the negativity a lot. But, like, the thing that just, like, kind of hurts is, like, I understand I'm, like, I come off as lazy or I'm, like, mentally weak. But, like, I don't know. A lot of people don't, I don't know. People who call me that, I don't think they've actually really experienced what it's like to feel like this. Because it's so difficult, because my mind can just change so fast, and like I don't have like any control over it, like.
He needs tapping. What do you think? Emotional freedom technique. You can
Yeah.
use that. So you can run through this emotional freedom technique. This is called tapping. And you can go, even though I have anxiety, I love and accept myself.
Yep.
Even though I have depression, I love and accept myself. And you may think this is silly. Like, what the heck is he doing? But this is basically acupuncture without the needles. And you can shift the mind. I did it on the airplane.
Yeah, the way you talk to yourself is so important. And Cookie, we're in a really difficult role and job for our brain health. Okay, like the amount of dopamine and stuff you have to manage as a content creator is extremely difficult. I think we were even seeing in some of my neurotransmitter tests, we were seeing some stuff on there, and I was like, hey man, some of that just not going to be able to get cleared because I have to post and scroll on these things every day. There's some amount of stuff that you just can't manage as a content creator. It's tough. So this is even more. There's even more of an importance to be healthy and be able to manage the stuff and manage how you talk to yourself. But what would you guys say of working with so many people who come to you with depression, with issues like, and they say what you're saying of people just tell me I need to work harder, or people tell me I need to just go and do the workout. Like, what is going on with people that feel that way? Like from a biochemistry level, like what is going on in their brains where they don't have the energy?
When people have an issue, let's say it's a symptom, whether it's gut, mood, mental health, emotional, the question is, what's the big why? So if I'm dealing with a dad, he's 40 years old, and these issues are impacting him connecting with his wife or being there with his kids or his golf game, that why is big. It's there. And so, yeah, he cares about the serotonin being low or the gut being low, right? But that he only cares about it to the degree that to which it's going to help improve his life.
Yeah.
And so you look at Cookie, right? You're a content creator. You're reaching out to millions of people. So you're good at that, right? You're passionate about that. The hardest thing about putting yourself online, as I have for the last decade, is the better you get, the more haters you get. And so you just got to change your mindset. More hate equals, more meaning you're over the target. You're doing the right thing, right? And also, too, there's thousands of people watching this right now that are in your position, man, that feel like shit. And their psychiatrist just prescribed a bunch of benzos and a bunch of SSRIs, and they feel helpless and they feel fucking numb. And you're providing hope there. And you're also just going to get better at what you're doing, too. You're producing a product now that's great. You are reaching out to millions of people. So you're doing like more than most people online are. And so you have this like great talent. And so now you're going to harness it and you're going to have more energy and more focus as you get healthier. You'll be just better at that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you guys going to look at lab work wise with Cookie? I know you can't get into specifics, obviously, because you haven't done this and gotten the results and stuff, but like he comes to you, what are some general labs you're going to run on somebody like this and start to see some stuff?
Neurotransmitters, I expect everything to be actually very high because when I see people on medications, it's going to just increase the RPMs in the brain, so to speak, the burning up of a lot of these nutrients. And so even though it's really high, it's like your car kind of being 7,000 RPMs, it's just burning through fuel very high. So I expect a lot of probably high. Could be a lot of methylation issues. Could be a lot of mitochondrial defects. I wouldn't be surprised based on diet. There's a lot of yeast overgrowth.
Let's see the tongue. Can you just take your tongue out at us? It's actually not terrible.
But under my tongue, I have these like white circles. Oh,
Okay.
There could be yeast. Let's see your fingernails too. Not too bad. But you see some of the vertical ridging. So people at home, you can check your fingernails. You can look at the vertical ridging. You see the white spots there. So, I would definitely say there's some zinc issues there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's H. pylori. If you look at the literature, there is a mental health connection.
Yeah.
If you put in depression, H. pylori, you'll find it. So I think there's probably going to be a brain chemistry piece. I think there's going to be a bacterial, maybe a yeast piece. Are you running a myco as well? I'd want to look at that.
Yeah, not yet. I just look at the Cookie right now, right? I can see definitely some estrogen issues out of the gate. I can see insulin problems. I can see muscle tone a little bit. So we got to get the protein up, the digestion up, get the insulin in check. I want to see where insulin and estrogen's at. I want to get you lifting a little bit, just moving a little bit of weight.
People make fun of him online. They say estrogen body.
Yeah, they say I have high
how does
estrogen.
one attain this build?
But that's insulin though. Like insulin drives that. And then if you're eating processed food full of pesticides and potential mold toxins, or just too much carbohydrate, it's going to just facilitate more insulin, more estrogen.
Yeah, and also like this is something kind of unrelated, but another thing is like I notice when I just am skinnier, even if it's unhealthy, just eating less, it's like dopamine for me. So I have like really bad body dysmorphia, like that's just like unrelated. But what I'm saying is like I tend to just like only feel happy when I'm skinny, and it doesn't have to be healthy at all. Like I don't care if I lose muscle, I just like feel happier when I'm skinny. And I don't know how to fix that, like body dysmorphia,
Yeah, man. When you're looking at it, right, it's constructive vehicles versus destructive vehicles, right? You can lose weight by starving yourself. We know it's unstable, or we can lose weight by getting your hormones balanced, right? And so for you, I really want to see what your fasting insulin's at. I want to see what your total estrogen and your estradiol at, because if we get your hormones, right, different and better, your body composition will shift based on that. And your circadian rhythm is a big part of that too.
And this is for the question I want to ask. What are your guys' thoughts on Ozempic for losing weight?
So out of the gate, Ozempic has some interesting aspects to it. It just totally kills appetite and kills cravings. So I think for people like 400 or 500, massively overweight that literally have no willpower and control, there's a tool there. But the problem with it is you end up just destroying your appetite. People do not eat enough protein. So a large percent of the weight, not in people that are massively obese, but like let's say you're 20 or 30 pounds overweight, a lot of the weight loss comes from protein. So if you're on Ozempic, you have to make sure you're getting enough protein. You're supplementing protein. You're eating even when you're not hungry, because I see people down to 1,000 calories and they're full. Like they had a Thanksgiving Day meal. So you have to be monitoring your calories. You have to be monitoring your protein. You have to be monitoring your micronutrients like it's a job, because it's like the equivalent of having the flu and not eating. Like you don't have to tell someone not to eat when they're sick, right? But that's kind of similar to what it is when you're on some of those drugs. So you got to be very careful with that. And you got to make sure the protein's up. And then what are you going to do when you're off? Because now those cravings come. Now it's going to rebound and be incredibly elastic on the backside. And so my thinking is there's different herbs, right? Because Ozempic's a glucagon-like peptide 1, so you can use higher doses, different berberine compounds that you can do. You can do that. And then you can dial in your insulin. Because if you're insulin resistant, you got to fix that. That's like the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say you don't need it. I'd say when we look at the gut, we're going to be able to see what kind of bacterial issues are there. If you have gut bacteria, they're going to cause more cravings. If you simply fix the gut bacteria, your cravings might go away. And you're going to, oh my God, it wasn't me. It was the bugs driving the cravings. When I had parasites, I craved carbs like crazy. I just wanted rice, starch, sweets.
I've noticed the past month or two, I've craved sweets so much. Like Brendan saying the apple pies thing, it's kind of not a joke. Whenever I would binge eat, I'd only get sugars.
So really, here's how you do it. Ready? When you feel that feeling, it's a behavioral shift. I feel that feeling. Okay, I'm going to let myself have that, but I'm going to have a steak first.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some steamed vegetables first. And then instead of having this bunch of shit over here that's full of sugar, have your cookies instead, right? Mm-hmm. So then it's like, all right, protein and fat, give your brain 5 or 10 minutes to catch up with everything. And then you'll be like, yeah, okay, I'll have some of this, but I'm good.
Yeah.
If you go to the shit first, now you're chasing the dragon. You're never going to get on top of that.
Yeah, that's so true. I've done pieces of content telling people, hey, you're craving a pizza?
Yeah.
Cool. Have a protein shake, have a yogurt bowl, have some good, meat, and order the pizza. Go for it. I don't care. This is really for general advice for people. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't do that. But you order the pizza, and guess what? Now, even if you have it, you're going to have 1 or 2 slices. Yeah. You're not going to be able to eat the whole thing because you've satiated your body. And so, I think, Cookie, there's so many tools out there for you. Like, there really is. You got to start using them. You have to start to get some of this lab work done, and it does take work on your end. Like, the lab tests will arrive to your house. You have to do them. You have to send them in. You have to go and talk to Dr. Justin and go over the results. And then there's stuff that you have to do to optimize. And it is work, it's not that difficult. Getting on a call with you to go over my gut and you going, hey, here's what I think we should do. Boom, let's do it. Remembering to take those herbs, and I feel amazing. And I can just dial in my health at any point by working with one of these guys than just doing all the stuff that we know how to do. So yeah.
Right now, there's the 4 phases of learning, right? The first phase is you have no idea what the hell you don't know. These are people that are obliviously ignorant, right? Then there's the people that are consciously incompetent. They know they don't know stuff, but they're aware, like, I don't know this. And that's kind of where you're at now. Mm-hmm. And then the third phase is you know it, but you have to be really freaking aware of it. Like, I know, I got to look at my phone. I got to read my notes. I got to be it's like driving a stick shift, right? But you're like, okay, clutch and this and that. And then there's the unconscious competence where I'm driving that standard, right? And I'm just like this, and I'm having a conversation because I'm unconsciously competent. And so going from that phase 2 to phase 3 is where you're at right now. And it's really freaking hard. And just know it's just reps. It's reps. You fall off, one decision to get back on. Don't beat yourself up. Good, it should not be, the enemy of perfect. All right? That's the key.
And my issue is what if I just don't even care enough to do it? That blood work and stuff I want to do, but I just can't. I was barely out.
You gotta feel bad enough, is what I tell
It's
people.
really simple. What I do with patients is I do what's called the ruin drill. I just say, okay, let's just take you feeling the way that you're at right now. Let's project it next year. Where are you at with your weight, with how you feel, with the medications that you're on, with the doses continuing to go up, with the side effects mounting? What happens to your YouTube channel? What happens to the people that you could have helped? What happens to your quality of life? Let's keep on projecting it. Let's go out 10 years. Do you want to have a wife and kids? Do you want to be there for your family? Do you want to have financial stability as you enter your 30s and 40s? Let's keep on projecting it out 5 and 10 years. And what happens is people dig the hole and they're like, I don't even know where I'm going to be. And they just start getting overwhelmed and they start getting depressed. But then it's like the Christmas tale, right? Where Scrooge meets the ghost of Christmas future. And he's like, oh my God, I want to go fix Tiny Tim and go back in time, right? And then we just bring right back to the present day. Oh, we can fix that. We can do that. We can change that.
Yeah.
So it's just look forward 5 or 10 years and really pretend like you're living that life. How much do you feel like you have regret and you've missed stuff?
Yeah, so I genuinely have OCD. Like I know Brendan, he doesn't.
No, I believe you
How
have
does it manifest?
OCD.
So-
Is
Yeah.
it touching stuff? Is it ruminating thoughts?
So
What is it?
it was really bad back in like quarantine. Like I used to not be able to leave my room. I wouldn't take showers. I would just like I had to film for like 18 seconds every time. Like it was really bad. My hands were all bloody from how much I washed them. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
But for example, Brendan, he was like making me do hill sprints yesterday, and like I felt so annoyed because I had a schedule going of where I would just do 45 minutes of treadmill every day, and if I did something different, I felt like it was all ruined. And yesterday is kind of where I like stopped tracking my calories after. Like I feel like it manifested into it, and now today I'm not tracking my calories. I feel like it all got ruined. You know, I'm very like meticulous where I have to do the same thing every single day. I would go to the park every single day. I would get 20,000 steps a day. As soon as it stops, I stop like that.
Yeah, and a lot of that too is getting glutamate under control in your brain, right? There's studies on NAC looking at trichotillomania, like kids pulling hair out of their freaking heads. So just getting that inflammation in your brain down will help that significantly. I used to have significant OCD. Don't get me wrong. There's something about having a good habit and patterns and all that, but you don't want to. You want to be realistic about it. That like there's some flexibility, some adaptation there. But getting like we've just started with some foundational things, but I definitely want to get into amino acids in to work on the glutamate in your brain. That's going to be big. Getting some additional theanine on board there too to kind of calm you down and just get your circadian rhythm back on track.
Yeah, and then the other thing is like the Adderall stuff. Like, I genuinely like I don't know how I could ever get back to doing work without any sort of stimulant because like I mean I don't know. I haven't been able to get any work done since I stopped and like.
So that's where utilizing B vitamins and adrenal support. And so I want to see where your adrenals are at. I want to see how beat it up it is. It's probably going to be absolutely beat up, but then we can use nutrients to bring it back up. And if we need more gentle stimulants, we'll utilize some caffeine or with some fatty acids to time release it so it's not hitting you all at once. We'll utilize some amino acids in there as well. And so we can do, I'd much rather you do something more gentle and stimulating than something that's over the top like a drug.
So what if I were to do everything but still take Adderall, for example? If I were to work on everything, but I had
And
to
continue to take Adderall?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine too. So if that's the case, right? Because I know you weren't on it that long. You were on, I think, the Ritalin or the Vyvanse?
Vyvanse for like 3-4 years.
That's the precursor to Adderall. And so you've only been on Adderall for what, 1 to 2 months?
One
You were
month.
on,
And then I quit now for 2 weeks because
so you were only on it for 1 month?
yeah, but it was still a stimulant just like Vyvanse.
So how did you function 2 months ago before you were on it?
Oh, so with Vyvanse instead?
No, with Adderall.
Adderall, I had way less mood swings.
With Adderall.
Adderall, so actually, Adderall wasn't that bad, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Vyvanse was the one that was making me depressed because the crash at like 6 or 5 p.m. was so severe.
Okay, so you're off that now, and so you feel better on the Adderall. And what's your dose? 20 milligrams?
Yeah, 20 milligrams.
Okay, so the easiest first thing is go back, people listening, right? Go back to your psychiatrist, right? And just talk to them about where you're at. Because if I'm not a prescriber, I'm always pushing back to the regular medical doctor. And I would just talk to them about maybe 15 milligrams. Try that for a week or two, maybe a month, and then go to 10. And just gently taper that down. Because with these medications can be very addicting. And so maybe a better taper would allow you to function better and feel better.
But how is somebody going to get good? I feel like if you gave me Vyvanse or Adderall, and sometimes you'll take it at 6 p.m. Cookie.
That's the problem.
Well, yeah, so
I just
that's the
don't
other
get
thing,
how
is
you're
This is where
going
we
to get
talked
good
about
sleep.
it. This is where we talked about it.
If you gave
do
that
it-
to anybody in this room, their sleep is
Yeah.
cooked. You're saying, oh, I can't fall asleep at 12. I believe you. I
Yeah.
can't fall asleep at 20 a.m. Dude, you drank Monster Energy and took Adderall.
Yeah.
Okay,
Of course.
Well, see, this is what I meant though. Is like, if I were to dial everything in, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if I were to take the Adderall, I'd have to dial in though at the same time. Like, it's hard.
I'll say this because you guys have more,
Yeah.
you're professionals. You are addicted to amphetamines, and this is addiction talking right now.
Yeah.
How can I get everything dialed in with my health and dial in everything, but I still want the amphetamines? You're addicted to amphetamines, bro, and that's okay. I'm not telling you to stop them cold turkey or whatever. You need to work on getting rid of those. You do not need to take amphetamines in your life.
So why at 6 p.m. though?
Well, no, that was just
Why?
when my sleep schedule was terrible.
Okay, yeah. So you get your sleep schedule right. At least if you drop the dose down, you're taking it right at sunrise.
Yeah. So the
And then you taper that thing down.
I realized my Adderall lasts exactly 12 hours. Like I because I have this app actually that like tells me when it kicks in, when it starts to
Yeah.
wear off, and it's really accurate actually. Like I notice if I take it at 10 a.m., I literally am able to fall asleep at 10 p.m.
But again, other factors are going to come into play because we're going to get all the methylation, the B vitamins, the adrenals supported, right? So you're just thinking about it as like as if we don't change
Like-
your system at all. Other things are going to work and help and plug in to make everything work better.
I just like this might just like be the like withdrawal. Like I just really want to get back on it because like every time I stopped taking it, I realized how helpful it was if I took it properly. Because when I didn't take it properly, I would, for example, just like, you know, spam post on TikTok or something for hours. But like when I would actually take it properly, it had significant. When Brennan was so
By properly, you mean like first thing in the morning, or
so
what do you
yeah,
mean by that?
like when my sleep schedule was right, and I would take it at like latest 9 a.m. Right?
I'm not saying that when you take amphetamines in the morning, it doesn't help you focus a bit, bro. But come on, like, dude, this is an addict talking. You're talking like an addict. My dad was an alcoholic, and when he stopped drinking for a little bit, he would say, "You know what? The alcohol helped me relax." It still doesn't matter, bro. You have to work eventually to getting off of it.
Yes. My general take is you have a platform of health underneath and you have the drugs up top, right? Get that freaking platform solidified and then you can go and go talk to your psychiatrist and get that dose adjusted downward though.
So my question is, what about the people who've genuinely benefited from Adderall or stuff like that? Because I've read stories of people who say, yeah, I mean, it's been good, like it's helped them their entire life.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal with that, right? It does not address the underlying cause of why someone has an issue. Yeah, may allow them to not make better changes in their life, their diet. Maybe they're not methylating as well. Maybe they're missing certain amino acids. And this Adderall thing is preventing them from looking deeper. And so I think that's the big issue because it's not an Adderall deficiency. It's a methamphetamine. It's not fixing anything. Does that make sense? Now, there's certain people that, you know, their brains may be fried due to drug use and those neurons need that stimulation in some people. But I'd say 99% of people, they're not fixing the underlying issue.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I don't know. I think so.
Here's the deal, though, when it comes to you, right? You're young, you're 18. When it comes to people like yourself, either the pain needs to get worse to motivate the crap out of you for you to actually do it. Pain's a very, very powerful motivator.
What I'm saying to Cookie, basically, and what I tell a lot of people is like, why don't you get some, you know, for people I say basic lab work, Cookie have the resources to do in-depth lab work. Why don't you get some labs done and things that someone who's worked with 5,000 patients goes, oh, this is clearly off.
Yeah.
Why don't you fix those and then see how you feel? That's like some basic stuff right there that if medicine just did, people would feel way better. If I go get my vitamin D levels checked, my testosterone checked, some gut stuff checked, some neurotransmitters, and he's able to go, these are way off in what I've seen. Let's correct them. And then I correct them. Why don't we just see how you feel after that? That's what I hope over the next month you can do.
The big thing is you got to take action. You got to execute, right? So I'll lay everything out for you and I'll apply accountability. Like you're going to need to meet with someone weekly to really get this dialed in. You're going to need to write down your challenges, write down your insecurities, and meet everything freaking head on. That's going to be the absolute key.
Yeah, I don't know. Now I just feel overwhelmed.
So what's holding you back? Like I keep it really simple, right? So like week 1, take your meds at the right time and eat protein and fat every meal.
I think what's holding me back is like all I'm thinking about is how it's crazy. It sounds like an addict, but all I want to do is like take the Adderall again.
Well, he's saying take it at the right time and eat protein and fat.
Bingo.
Like, yeah.
So take it at the right time. Even take your 20 milligrams. Get stable with everything else so you're not overwhelmed. Build these other habits in. And then once you're like, all right, I got this food thing, and then go back to your psychiatrist, go to 15 milligrams. Take it at the right time, get your circadian rhythm in, and then get to level up again. Okay, I'm good by my supplements. I'm feeling better there. I got my lab test. Maybe go to 10. And then you figure out that taper. Maybe it's a taper over 3 to 6 months. Maybe it's over a month. Talk to your shrink. And then see how you feel, in regards to your improvements and what you feel.
And if your psychiatrist doesn't want to taper you off, find a new psychiatrist.
Yep.
I know you guys won't say some of that stuff. I will say it. If you have a psychiatrist and you go to them and you're like, I'm dialing in my health, I'm starting to feel better, I'm taking this 20 milligrams, I want to taper down to 15, and they say no, I would absolutely find a new psychiatrist. Because, bro, these people spend 15, how long do they talk to you before they prescribe you this stuff?
I don't know.
Did they ever run any lab work whatsoever? They talk to you about your sleep? No, they just give you... Dude, I sat down with a lady for 15 minutes. I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
They prescribe me amphetamines.
My
I didn't
general
take 'em,
recommendation
luckily.
is when you're making medication changes, right? Let's say your MD's doing it, right? Is always move the drug down from a place of stability, not instability. You should not be like unstable, uncertain, anxious, not having a routine. Always do it from a place of stability. That's key.
And get the lab work done, bro. Find out your neurotransmitters. Find out what's going on in your gut. Find out your testosterone, your estrogen. And if there's any clear things there that are off, fixing those is going to make you feel amazing. Because if we could pull a lever right now and crank your testosterone down to 0, you'd probably feel pretty horrible and irritable. And if I could crank it up to an optimal level, you feel great.
Your
So just
insulin's
fix
probably
that.
15. Your testosterone's probably 350. Your estradiol is probably 35, 40. I could kind of look at it and just guess. But you should be in the upper 800s. You should have insulin below 10. Your estradiol should be in the mid to low 20s. That's where you should be. And you feel phenomenal.
How do you do that?
Everything I'm telling you. You get the first thing is you get all the exogenous estrogens and shit out. Plastics, pesticides, soy. You get good proteins and fats from healthy sources. You dial in the carbohydrate for you and your activity. So more vegetables than fruit and starch. You can adjust it as you're more active, right? We get you on things that lower estrogen, DIM, calcium deglucarate, indole-3-carbinol. Get your glutathione levels up. Again, some of this will be based on labs coming back in. You time up your meds the right way, and we adjust the dose down with your psychiatrist based on stability, not instability. And you get clear on your freaking goals. Like, what the
And
hell do you want?
what they do is not guesswork because there's lab tests to confirm this.
Yeah.
So when you work with them, you make some changes and then you retest. And it's not like some thing of, oh, I think your testosterone went up by doing this. It is just you can see it right on the lab work. You can see it right there. What made the change? So what it looks like, Cookie, is take your meds at the right time. Try to get good sleep. Eat protein, fat, some healthy fruits, vegetables, all that type of stuff. Hit your walks, all that. Take the supplements that you need to take. You can do it, 100%.
See, I've seen people before you, so I know if you do this thing, this is how you're going to progress, right? And so I have that confidence, but you don't, right? So sometimes it's just like, dude, I'm hiring you. You're my Sherpa to take me to the top of Everest. I have no freaking clue how to get up there, but I'm going to just trust that if I just follow your step, that I'll get there. And so some of it is just having that kind of trust in your practitioner too.
Yeah. We're going to help you lock in, man.
Bro, this feels like deja vu.
Cookie,
It keeps happening.
It's like
This
an
is so
intervention.
funny.
It's an
No, like
intervention
this
here,
started
man.
out with like, oh, this dude just needs to work out, start eating right in April. Then I was like, wow, like Cookie has some interesting. He's binging out on stuff. He's like this. I'm like, damn, like some of it. People always comment this is a joke. Cookie's joking. I kind of thought that in maybe April when we first started, like trying to help you get healthy. I'm like, you're messing around. Then I started to see like stuff where like you would feel bad, like completely off camera, all the stuff you'd be like, bro, I'm sorry for not showing up to the gym today. Like I genuinely like just like didn't feel like this, or like I'm having this issue, and I'm like, damn, like so. I think everybody online and everybody right here in this room at least cares about you. We love you, and you have the resources to get healthy. Not everybody has the resources to get healthy, so this is the next step of locking in. Let's get some of the lab work done, dial it in, and you will feel amazing.
Are you working out at all? Exercising?
I mean, I was getting 20,000 steps a day.
That's good. That's phenomenal. That's enough right there to start with. I mean, you can bang out some kettlebell swings or some push-ups, something simple like that at home if you can't get to the gym, but start there, right? What else? What other barriers are coming up? Like what are the big things that are just getting in your way?
I think just like feeling like I have to do this. I can't. Like if I do too much, then I burn out.
So then what's the amount that you can do?
As much as what I've been doing, like that worked pretty much.
Good, which is what?
The 20,000 steps a day.
Good. Even 10, 15,000 is good. Okay, good. That's fine, right? Then what about food? What works there?
But then Brendan, like yesterday when he took me on the run, I felt so like off track all of a sudden.
Oh, I agree. Like that probably was a little too much for you. Some of that was probably
I told you that. I told you that.
Some of that was
Probably
probably
was.
theatrics
was.
and stuff, right? But like, okay, fine. Like you want to do some sprinting, right? Just do an air bike or something like that if you want to throw in something, something that's a little bit more intense. But just focus on your walking, man. It's like the 4 stages, right? You're in the second stage.
Hey,
Just
you're right.
get your 15,000 steps, 10,000 steps a day, man.
I think a big thing for Cookie is mental, and I think like the OCD part of stuff, he'll be like, I need to do it this way, I have to do it this way, and I think a lot of that, what he doesn't know is that will start to get fixed when you start to dial in the brain
Yes.
health and all this stuff. So life will get easier if you just progress with this. So, yeah, I mean, we're wrapping up because it's 4:30 and I want to go surf. The waves are firing right now. We're about to go shred it up.
The Japanese principle Kaizen, right? You start
Yes.
with one thing, do it get the dopamine hit, let that dopamine then say, okay, what's the second thing? Do the second thing. So it could be just, I'm going to just cut the soda out. Now it's water. Now I'm going to have protein in every meal. But I may still eat crap around it, but I'm having protein every meal. And then now I'm going to maybe have a vegetable twice a day, right? And it's just one thing every couple of days. Just that alone, and just stack it.
You can do it, bro. We believe in you. Anything else, Cookie?
No, it's just I think that's the one thing, Brendan, is like that's the reason I don't like to be like pushed so hard like with the runs and stuff.
That's fair.
So I don't know if you're gonna.
That's fair. I won't push you on the runs.
All right.
I'm still gonna hold you to a high standard. Like if like with basic stuff, if you're like when Carla, you know, with your protein cookies, she's like, hey, like Cookie hasn't done this, Cookie hasn't done this. I know a lot of it is from the brain health aspect. There is just an element of, hey, I need to focus on this. I need to lock in. You know, that's why I was joking with him yesterday. I was like, I have a buddy with one leg and he does this stuff. Like there is an element of just as a human being, man, like I feel like crap right now, but I need to get this done because it'll make me feel better. You got to lock into that. That's fine. I won't make you do any more hill sprints on your time here, but you can't just say fuck it, throw your hands up in there and binge out and crash out. You can't have that.
That's not what I meant. It's just like I just want to do like my walking, you know.
Let's do it.
Yep, that's fine, man.
Let's walk. We'll walk with you.
That's it, brother. I like it.
All right, guys. Another episode of Getting Cookie to Lock In. It's progressed. We got doctors here. We got lab tests. We're gonna try to get to the bottom of it and help this man. So show him support in the comments, guys. We appreciate you so much. Cookie appreciates you guys. And we're gonna be flying out some people to help them lock in because I know a lot of people have said, well, what about me? I want help locking in. We will get to that. So make your case below and we'll get some people out to San Diego, get you some supplements, get you some lab testing, take you through some workouts, go surfing, all that fun stuff. I love you guys. Peace.